to attend our annual United Way fundraising meeting. It's been a couple years since we've had one of these. I know we've had a lot of new employees that have come to work for us since then, so we're definitely going to try to get them on board and get them to donate what they can. And we appreciate everything that y'all have given over the years, and will continue to give. So I'm going to turn over to Amy Dyer. She's with the United Way, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about what they do as an agency.
I was hoping to see the dog here, but I guess it's here the last time I was. I don't know if it's the same dog, but maybe it's the same dog. Anyway, well, good morning, everybody, and first of all, I just want to thank you for the partnership. We were talking about it, how long it's been. I think it was for a while, then it got stopped a little while, and now it's rejuvenated, probably 15 years ago or whatever. So a long-term partnership, and we couldn't do our work without our community partners like you. You're 95 years old this year, right?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
And so is
Not
United.
individually, but
Yeah, I know, that's why everybody. So is United Way 95 years old. What's the chances of that, So we both started in 1924. And, as you have changed, as I've heard, talking to Mike from selling appliances, and I thought toilets when I came in here, but it was something else. We have also changed to meet the needs, but some things stay the same with United Way. When we started, I think we were called the Community Chest. I wasn't there then, but we've evolved over the years. But right now, basically, we covered the 5-county area, and we serve, last year we served 558,000 people. Think about that in the 5-county area. That's like 1 in 3 almost that are touched by United Way's lives. That could be yourself, your neighbor. You may not even know who's been helped by one of United Way's agency partners or us. So you never know when you're going to need help either, do you? But our focus area is basically in education, basic needs, health and education, and financial security. And there's too much in all of that for me to even tell you what that means. But when you think of basic needs, what do you think about? Food, clothing, housing, right? Transportation, sometimes for people if they need to get to work and they can't, that interrupts their lives. So we have lots of programs that fit into those 4 areas. When I think of United Way, when I was in the corporate world, I donated to United Way. I never thought much about, what did they do, but now I obviously know a lot more about what they do. And it is an amazing scope. I think of an umbrella. That's my best visual for United Way. Kind of an umbrella organization. And under that, of course, are our community agency partners like Children's Home Society, which you'll hear from in a minute. And there are about 60 plus of those agency partners. Others would be like Soulsback or Clara White, Boys and Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Clubs. You know a lot of them. Some of them you may not know. They might be smaller. But they help us do our work. But we audit them very carefully. We make sure they spend your dollars well, and you would know that, Ramate, because it's important that we have accountability for our dollars. So you can feel comfortable that we're going to look at how that money's being spent every year. They have goals, and they have statistics they need to meet, and we watch it very carefully. Also under that umbrella are volunteers. Any of you ever volunteered for United Way? Thank you very much, and we would love to have you in the future, either as an individual, maybe you want to do it as a group sometime. But we couldn't do our work without our volunteers, and that's everybody that might do Hometown Huddle with our NFL partnership to just being a reading pal, reading to young children. So think about volunteering. You can go to our website and you can check that out. Also under that umbrella would be our corporate partners like you. There are over 300 in that 5-county area that either run a United Way campaign or they give us a corporate donation. So that's very important. We raise about $20 million with grants and everything. We couldn't do that without you. So thank you for that. Let's talk up.
that's our helicopter.
Okay. So then, but last underneath that umbrella to me are the people who are helped by United Way. And as I said, about 558,000 last year. Lots of people helped in some way. And this is our impact report. I believe you have some of these. If you don't, then we can get you. And that's our brochure. So I'm going to tell you about one person who was helped by United Way that kind of is in all of those areas of basic needs to mental health that we work a lot in, to education and financial security. Chris Dempsey, you may have seen him on a commercial with, I believe, Farrah.
Yes.
He's a veteran. He was down on his luck. He was a JAG lawyer in Washington, D.C. He had been in Afghanistan on a couple of tours. And when he got back, he started having symptoms of PTSD. And that affected his job. He lost his job. He lost his 20-year marriage. He lost his relationship with his children. And he became homeless. So he ended up here in this Jacksonville area, I think maybe because he had family. And he was living in the woods out in Baker County. So there was a church nearby, and someone connected with him and said, I'm going to connect you with a veterans organization. So they connected him with a small veterans organization out in Baker County, but they weren't able to help him. He had a lot of issues, as you know. So they referred him to 5 Star Veterans, which is an agency partner of ours. They were able to get him mental health counseling for the PTSD. They were able to get him an apartment. They were able to renew his law license so he could practice law and help him get back on his feet. And so now he is a lawyer again, practicing with a firm downtown. He started his own nonprofit, and he speaks for United Way. As a matter of fact, he's speaking for me at another organization on Monday about how all those services together helped save his life, because he had actually bought guns to take his own life during that time. So that's how your dollars are being spent. And with that said, though, I will tell you that Mission United is a new initiative for United Way as we evolve. And we will be in next year, 2020, launching that program where veterans can call into 211, our call center that anybody can call, but there'll be a specially trained person there to help veterans and refer them to the over 30 organizations that help veterans that right now are a little bit fragmented. They don't know what the other one's doing or how to refer, but we'll have the resources to help with that. So it's called Mission United. Be looking for more information about that. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Ramonte Green, who is with Children's Home Society. They're one of our agency partners, and he will tell you about them.
Good morning, everyone. First off, good morning, everyone. And again, I'm Ramonte Green. I'm with Children's Home Societies. I am one of the directors for our Community Partnership School programs. And again, thank you for having us. I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story about some of the ways that your donations or even your volunteerism has impacted our community. So, one of the schools that I oversee is Ed White, Reigns and Reball. And one of the kids that was, I won't name the school, she would come into one of my offices every day and get food. You know, hey, Mr. Green, can I have something to eat? Can I get that? Yeah, cool. You know, kids is like a machine. They want to eat all day long. So she was taking, and she would, then she'd come in the afternoon and say, hey, can I have something to eat? I'm sure, hey, take whatever you want. Go ahead. Well, come to find out, she was taking that food and she was feeding her 2- and 3-year-old brother that were at home. Now, her parents were really, really involved with just the community in general. Mom wasn't working because she had some health conditions, so she volunteered at the school often. We never knew this was going on. And Dad was the supervisor of a warehouse, so he was working. He was the only income coming into the house. So between paying bills, daycare, and clothing, they just couldn't. It was just tough, and Mom wouldn't come tell us. We never knew anything was going on. Any parent event, Mom was there on time, first to arrive, last to leave. Her daughter's an A student. It was stellar. But we found out that she wasn't having any food home. So we reached out to United Way to see if we could apply for some of the funding to start a food bank. And we were awarded it, and since then we've been able to make sure that she has food every single day. And we found this out maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, and I'm really glad that we found it out because we were approaching Thanksgiving and now Christmas, and she was about to go without having any food for the holidays. And it really was impactful. But I just wanted to share that so that you all understood that when you donate even just $1, it goes a long way for students who don't have anything to eat, and we don't know anything about it until we kind of get down into the investigations as to what's going on. So that's why I wanted to share that story. I also wanted to let you know that in addition to that, we've also been able to employ 2 mental health therapists so that kids, parents, and students can get served right there at the school to tackle any mental health issues that may be going on, because she was suffering from mental health because she thought she was being judged by her peers for carrying food onto the bus, and they were like, why you always have food? And she didn't want to say, it's like, oh, I'm just hungry, but really she was feeding her family and she's being bullied. So I just wanted you all to understand that your dollars, like I said, even if it's just $1, it goes a really long way. And we never know who's at home without the basic needs such as food. It's my understanding you all are kind of like Google and y'all get to eat kind of every morning and have something to eat. I mean, hey, first of all, I have an application because I like to eat. And two, I mean, you think about it. Food is just readily available to you all at work, but at this family, they were struggling just to have something to eat for their little kids. So I just wanted to share that with you all and let you know that your donations do go a long way, and we thank you all for everything that you do.
I did the video.
Run the video?
Yeah, we're gonna do a
Like,
short
and
video.
just go behind there and
Go behind there and do what?
just hit play. You'll see it.
He knows what he's doing.
Problems. The ones most people don't want to think about. The ones no one talks about at cocktail parties. The ones that can't be solved overnight. We go looking for them. In unforgiving neighborhoods, in struggling communities, in seemingly docile suburbs throughout the 5-county region, we find every dollar we can to solve them. But we are more than fundraisers. We are hand raisers and game changers. The stop talking and start doing, band together and take on the impossible taskmasters. United, we fight student challenges in the classrooms of Duval County. United, we help families make ends meet in Springfield. We provide access to basic needs at the beaches and beyond. We connect individuals to critical health resources across Northeast Florida. We match volunteers' purpose with passion. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround Northeast Florida's most critical problems, and we fight. We fight for Jaden. We fight for Kimberly. We fight for Jessica, for Jeff, for Debbie, for the Kyles, for Mickey, for Carl, for the Brants. We fight for those who need a voice and for those whose names we don't even know. At United Way, we fight for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in Northeast Florida. Because change doesn't happen alone. Hope isn't a one-man band. There's no such thing as self-taught or self-made. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
Turn on by itself, I guess. Okay. I'd like to bring up Kirk Sanford to basically close the meeting. He's been with the company on and off for 30-some years, I know. And he knows all about what his family and the support the Cain and Bultman has given to United Way over the years. So,
Thank you, Mike.
go ahead.
You know, I had to write a letter last night, or draft a letter. I haven't sent it yet, but it was interesting that part of the letter was to describe Cain and Bultman in this community. And I'm sending this letter on behalf of not only our company and our employees, but also as a reference to an individual that needs some help. And as I was sitting here last night, I thought I could outlast you, but you stayed later, I believe. I left it at about 7:15.
Almost.
I started trying to describe what Cain and Bultman is to the Northeast Florida community. And I started thinking, what have we done? Not as individuals, but as a company. But the company is built and made up of each of our individuals. And I started thinking about the decades and the generations that were here before us, the founders, all the way through to where we are today. And so I started looking, and I don't know the history. I don't know all the history. I wasn't born in 1924 like Bob DeLoach was, but I started thinking of what I know and some of the impacts we've made in Northeast Florida. And I do know that Cain and Bultman was instrumental in getting the Mayo Clinic to Jacksonville. I know that for a fact because my grandfather's name is on the wall of founders if you go to the Mayo Clinic. So somehow Mayo Clinic interviewed city after city after city when they decided to expand their premier hospital services. And they had an interview process almost like the NFL does when you want to bring the NFL to your city. You have to raise money like the Weavers did, and you know how much they raised. You have to sell the marketing, you have to sell the city, and you have to sell the support. That's what the Mayo Clinic asked of Jacksonville. And there's a list of some 30 business people in Jacksonville that are on that wall that made it happen. Now, they didn't do it because we don't have good hospitals. We do have good hospitals. My grandfather was a devout Baptist, and I'm sure he wouldn't go anywhere but Baptist hospital, but he felt the community would be better with a facility like Mayo Clinic. And somehow, the people of Jacksonville came together, and they thought that a gift, a donation, support, would make our city better. And then I was thinking a little bit farther, and I know my grandfather was very generous to Jacksonville University. My grandfather never got to go to college. I don't know why Jacksonville University was of interest to him, but somehow he felt that a private, local college named Jacksonville University was important to our community, and he and Cain and Bultman gave them money when they needed for expansion. Here again, it's a private college, it's not a charity, et cetera, but it's the community that we're all a part of. And then I started thinking about, Mike Sandifer. He gives a boatload of money to Shands Hospital. By the way, that is a University of Florida hospital. It's not an FSU hospital, or a Georgia hospital. Nobody wants to go to a Georgia hospital. Miss Louise. But he gives a boatload of money because his wife, her life was saved by Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida. She had a very rare kidney disorder. I still don't know what the name of it is. He does. But paying it forward, he gives a boatload of money every year to the Shands Proton Beam Therapy Center over here at Shands Hospital. The reason he got involved in that is not because that's what saved his wife 25, 30 years ago, and it had nothing to do with her kidney. He felt that they came to him and said, we need help. And he went around town and not only gave his own money, his own time, treasure, and talent, he got other people that said this would be a phenomenal technology for cancer prevention and cure, this proton beam therapy where the beam goes directly, the radiation goes directly into the cancer and does not damage the collateral areas like most radiation does. Here again, making the community better, not for his wife, not for him, not for anybody around him, but for the community. And I think about, I know we've donated to UNF. Not always do we give money at Cain and Bultman. Sometimes we give flooring. We used to give appliances for dorms. We used to donate air conditioners, et cetera, so it's not always capital. But we've also funded at the University of Florida and FSU. We are supporting, Cain and Bultman supports this greater community. And I forgot to say, Mayo Clinic saved my brother 5 years ago. He had cancer. It was pretty bad cancer. So some of the things that we've invested in, save us. So, sorry to get emotional. Think about my brother. But I kind of, when I was reading this letter, I was like, wow, we are very impactful here locally. And so when I think about what do I say to our employees, I don't want you to give a penny more than you can afford to give. I know you have lives to live and it's challenging at times, it's tough. But I think everything starts with a gift. Everything starts with a gift. Sometimes it's a college or a university. Sometimes it's a charitable organization. Sometimes it's just a needy family that needs food for their table. And while Tremont was saying this, I kind of looked at it and it said $50 a year. Feeds 18 families for a week. Not my family. I can't even go to Outback for $50 with my family. But $1 a week can help a family feed. 18 families feed for an entire week. And I start to think about what we do, because this is our community. Cain and Bultman community does give. Most of us give to the United Way. I know some of our remote employees may or may not. And but what I would ask you to do this: if you can find $1 a week, imagine the 18 families you can help feed, and all the other services that they showed us on the video, and all the other services they share with us. Individually, it seems like it's nothing. Collectively, we're a part of this community. And that's my plea. And as we said earlier, it doesn't have to be a gift of money. If you can volunteer your time or your treasure or your talent, that's just as impactful as it is $1 a week. So we are very proud of our company who shares in this community and has for decades upon decades upon decades. And we continue to do so in a major way with the United Way. Cain and Bultman typically does not donate money to charities. When I first came back about 12 years ago, I asked Mike to consider Cain and Bultman, donating their corporate dollars to a charity, and he told me, quite frankly, that we just don't do that very often. We do it from time to time. And I said, why not? He said, well, we have 65 individuals that represent Cain and Bultman, and we all have different needs that we would want to spend our corporate dollars. And it wouldn't be fair for just Mike to say it's got to go here, or Kirk to say it's got to go there, etc. So we typically ask employees, and Mike has asked me over the years for certain donations to certain charities that are important to him, and I've asked him to do the same for charities that are important to me. But typically, as a company, we don't make corporate donations because we just don't think that it's fair to all the employees of the company. So this is the one charity that we got behind. I don't know how many years ago, Mike. Do you know?
It's been since ever I've been here. It's over 35 years.
So I have no idea the funds we've raised over those 30 years. I don't have any idea how much we raise on an annual basis. But when I look at the numbers on the back of this brochure, man, we are an impactful part of this community. And I would ask you to consider to do whatever you think you can do. And keep in mind, $1 a week feeds 18 families for that week.
So last year you raised $39,000.
$39,000. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much for your time and your consideration. And be proud of the company that you represent, because you are impactful into this community. Thank you.
I will be hand delivering all of the United Way pledge forms either today or Monday to everybody. I know normally we would give them out in advance, but we have till the end of the month before we need all that stuff in so we can make it effective for 2020 going forward. And all that y'all have contributed in 2019, I appreciate everything. And I hope you can continue and maybe even increase a little bit. And thank you for attending. And I appreciate it. So everybody go back to work. And thanks.
Before you stop,
Yeah.
Mike volunteers to do this. The company does not pay him a dime to put all of this stuff together. He volunteered a couple of years ago and works diligently to make sure that we have meetings and get all this on. And I'm thankful that he does that. One last thing, we're all eligible to call 211 ourselves, aren't we?
Definitely, anybody.
You understand that?
No.
Yes, 211. We're all eligible.
So thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it.